What did the Mongol military division do after the escape of the king of Khwarezm? The messenger of God, Mohammed, may God's prayers and peace be upon him, said, "Nations are about to quarrel over you, as the eaters gather for their bowl." They said, "Are we few then?" He said, "On that day you are many, but you are scum like the scum of a torrent, and God will remove the fear of you from the chests of your enemy, and God will cast weakness into your hearts." They said, "O messenger of God, what is weakness?" He said, "The love of the world and the hatred of death." On their way back, the Mongol military division overran the fortified city of Mazandaran. Then they headed to the city of Ray. As if God wanted to humiliate Mohammed bin Khwarezm even after his death, the Tatars saw on their way the mother of Mohammed bin Khwarezm and his wives, and with them the many jewels and money. So they took them and sent them to Genghis Khan in Samarkand. Then the Mongol-Tatars entered the city of Zanjan and then the city of Kazvin, and they killed more than 40,000. Then they headed to the city of Tabriz in Iran, and its leader, Uzbek bin al-Balwan, who was not waking up from drinking, pleased them, and gave them money and clothes and animals. So they left him for a while, because of the severe winter cold. Then they entered Christian Armenia and the country of Karaj, which is present-day Georgia, and invaded it, killing many of its people. Thus, the Mongols also attacked Christians in Georgia and Armenia. All of this was the work of the small Mongol military squad sent by Genghis Khan to capture King Mohammed bin Khwarezm. The Tatar message reached the peoples of the region. The message says, "The Tatars are only happy with ruin and destruction. The Tatars are not defeated. Tatars drink blood, and they can live without food. Their horses hit the ground, eat tree trunks. Tatar women fight like men, and terror spread in the people of that country." The army of Genghis Khan overran the city of Termiz in Turkmenistan and then reached the city of Balk in Khorasan. The people of Balk demanded safety from the Tatars, and the strange thing was that the Tatars, and unusually, had given the people of Balk true safety. But why did they give them safety? Genghis Khan wanted the people of Balk to take their youth and men to join the Mongol army in order to attack a fortified Islamic city, the city of Merv. The recruitment of people and forcing them to fight or work for the occupier is a frequent occurrence in history to this day. Genghis Khan took Muslims from the city of Balk and marched them with the Mongol army and proceeded to the city of Merv, which is located in the state of Turkmenistan. The Mongols found that the people of Merv had gathered for them an army of 200,000 fighters. But these fighters are originally civilians who decided to defend their city after the Khwarezm army fled. The two armies met in a great fierce battle. Unfortunately, the tragedy happened. The Merv army was broken, and the Mongols began killing most of them and arrested the rest. Then the Mongols advanced to the walls of the city of Meru and besieged it. The population of Meru was approximately 700,000. The Tatars sent a message to the emir of the city, telling him, "Do not perish yourself and the people of the country, and come out to us. We will make you the emir of the city, and we will leave you." The governor of Meru went out, asking for security for himself and the people of the country, and Genghis Khan met him, then said to him, "Bring your friends to see who is fit to serve us and be with us." The deceived ruler of the city sent his lieutenants to attend the meeting with the son of Genghis Khan. And when they came, the Tatars captured them, tied them up with ropes, and Genghis Khan asked them to write the names of the country's merchants, money owners, and industrialists to transport them to the Mongol capital Karakorum. Then the Mongols began expelling all the people of Meru. And the son of Genghis Khan sat on a chair of gold and began to give orders. First, the emir of Meru and chiefs will be brought in, and they will all be killed. Second, torturing the owners of money in order to ransom themselves with everything they own. Third, the burning of the city. The Tatars began killing all the people of Meru, men, women, and children. The death toll reached about 700,000. Then the Tatars, the Mongols, headed after Meru to the Nisapur, besieged it, then drove its people into the desert, killed them all and captured the women. Then the Mongols began to cut off the heads of all the people of Nishapur. Then they built high pyramids for men, for women, for children. The invasion of the capital of Khwarezm, Urgenda. After the invasion of Nisapur, the Mongols headed to Herat in Afghanistan, besieged it and then entered it, killed everyone in it, plundered it, and then burned it. However, the Emir of Herat, who is the king of Khan, managed to escape with a group of his army to the of Ghazni, southern Afghanistan. After the fall of Khwarizm, Genghis Khan headed to the capital of Khwarezm, Urgenda, which is located on the borders of Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan on the river Jihan and Udaria. The people of Urgenda are distinguished by their courage. Therefore, Genghis Khan sent his greatest army to invade the city. He besieged it for 5 months and could not enter it. Genghis Khan sent many additional armies until they were able to break through the walls. The Mongols were able to enter the city, and fierce fighting took place between the Muslims and the Mongols, and very large numbers of people were killed on both sides. Then crowds and new crowds of the Tatars poured into the capital, and the Muslims began to be defeated, and the Muslims began to enter the hideouts and wells of the city. The Mongols did something that the mind does not imagine. The Mongols demolished the water dam in the river Amudarya, and a flood of water entered the city, which led to the flooding of the entire city. The waters have flooded the whole city, and whoever survived the killing was drowned. The whole city disappeared under the water. All of these events occurred in the year 1220-517 in the Hijri calendar. The Mongols were able to control every state except the southern part of it, central and southern Afghanistan. The first defeat of the Tatars, Mongols, Saif al-Din Bughraq. The first to defeat the Tatars was Jalal al-Din bin Khwarizm, and his nickname Jalal al-Din Minkoberdi, one of the sons of the king of Khwarizm, who fled and died on an island in the Caspian Sea. Jalal al-Din used to live in Ghazni, Afghanistan, south of Kabul. Jalal al-Din had remnants of his father's armies, about 60,000 fighters. Then came from India one of the princes of the Muslim Khalid Turks, Saif al-Din Bughraq, and he had 30,000 soldiers who possessed great fighting skill. Bughraq joined the army of Jalal al-Din to participate with him in the fight against the Mongols. Genghis Khan sent a large army to invade the city of Ghazni. The two armies met in an area called Balk. Saif al-Din Bughraq put his soldiers at the forefront of the Muslim army. He wanted to penetrate the ranks of the Mongol army from the heart. The confrontation between the union of Muslim armies began with the confrontation of the Mughal armies. It was one of the fiercest battles in the region, and the courage of the Saif al-Din Bughraq division had a clear impact on the stability of the Muslim army in front of the Mongols. The battle lasted for 3 days. Then God Almighty brought victory to the Muslim army. The Mongols were defeated for the first time in Muslim countries, and many of them were killed, and the rest fled to Genghis Khan in the Talikan region of Afghanistan. The morale of Muslims rose with this great victory. The Muslims took the means of victory from equipment and unity, so God's promise of victory was fulfilled. Then Jalal ad-Din sent a message to Genghis Khan, challenging him for a second battle. For the first time, Genghis Khan feels pain and defeat. Genghis Khan sent a larger army to Kabul in Afghanistan, and a second battle broke out with the Muslim army in Kabul, and fiercer fighting took place than the previous battle of Ghazni. Ivan al-Athir says, "So the Muslim army went to the Mongols, and a great fight took place between them, and the Mongols were defeated for the second time, and they freed the Muslim captives who were with the Mongols." Muslims rejoiced at this victory, and everyone expected that these two battles would be the end of sorrows and pain. But something unexpected happened. An accident missed these victories of the Muslims and restored the dominance of the Tatars. The incident that ended the victory of the Muslims and restored the Mongols' victory. After the Muslims were able to defeat the Mongols in Ghazni and then in Kabul, the dispute began among the Muslims over the spoils. The voices rose, then the swords rose. Muslims fought among themselves, and the armies of the Mongol-Tatars still filled the country. The Prince of Herat, the king of Khan, wrestled with his brothers over the spoils. The dead of Muslims fell at the hands of Muslims. Among the dead was one of the brothers of Prince Bughraq. And Bughraq and 30,000 of his soldiers decided to withdraw from the army of Jalal al-Din. After the withdrawal of Saif al-Din Bughraq, the army of Jalal al-Din ibn Khwarizm was weakened. Jalal al-Din saw the collapse of his army's morale, and he did as his father did. So he decided to withdraw to the south towards Pakistan until he reached the Indus River and waited for a ship to cross to India. But Genghis Khan arrived with the Mongol army, and Jalal al-Din was forced to fight, with the river behind him and the Tatar army in front of him. The fighting was very intense. It was a life-or-death battle. Among the Muslims who were killed was Prince Malik Khan, who was the cause of the conflict over the spoils, and the fighting with Saif al-Din Bughraq. Prince Malik Khan died and did not take anything from the booty. On the fourth day, the ships reached the shore of the Indus River, and Jalal al-Din and those with him boarded the ship in a hurry and fled to India, and he was unable to take his family with him. Jalal al-Din fled and his army dispersed, leaving civilians in villages and cities without protection from the Mongols. The Mongols returned, filled with hatred, and attacked Muslim cities, the first of which was the city of Ghazni. They killed its people, plundered the money, insulted the harem, destroyed it, and burned it. And the Mongols seized the children of Jalal al-Din ibn Khwarizm. So he ordered Genghis Khan to kill them all, and Jalal al-Din tasted the same pain that his people tasted. All became Afghanistan with the Tatars. The occupation of Afghanistan is a primary and necessary goal of the Tatars or other invaders. This is for several reasons, including the country is located in Central Asia. The mountainous nature of Afghanistan, which made its people strong and distinguished. Defeating this people means that defeating others is easier. Thus, the Tatars had controlled the countries of Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Georgia, and thus the Mongols approached Iraq and Turkey. The Mongols go to Tabriz, then attack Russia. With the advent of the year 1221, the Mongols reached the city of Maragha in Azerbaijan. The Mongols besieged Maragha, then entered it, killed its people, plundered it, and then burned what they could not carry. They would bring heaps of silk cloth and burn it. Then Genghis Khan sent his army back to Tabriz in Iran. Shams al-Din al-Tughril was the ruler of Tabriz, and he was a believing prince. He encouraged the people of Tabriz to fight, defend, and fortify the city, and he said to his people, "No matter how much you kneel to the Mongols will not leave them." The people of Tabriz prepared themselves, took up arms, and arranged ranks to fight in the cause of God. The Mongols heard about the state of the general mobilization in Tabriz, so they decided not to attack Tabriz and not to fight with the people who had raised the banner of fighting for the sake of God. This also happened with the people of the city of Chechnya, who prepared for war and raised the banner of fighting in the way of God. So the Tatars left them, and the Muslims preserved this country for years. The Tatar-Mongol forces headed to the countries of Chechnya and Dagestan in Azerbaijan, and they destroyed and looted its cities and killed its inhabitants as usual. After that, they headed to the southwest of Russia and entered it in the year 1221 until they reached the basin of the Volga River, and they killed the people of this region, and they committed crimes with them, as they used to do with the Muslims. Thus, in the year 1222, the Tatars completed control of the countries Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Pakistan, Afghanistan, most of Iran, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, and southwestern Russia. All this in 2 years and a few months. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on alerts to receive new videos.